to another episode of Board Game Tutorials. I'm Cymrych from Blue Hand Gamers, and today we're going to go over Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is a competitive 1 to 5 player game made by Stronghold Games. Usually takes about an hour to 2. It varies based on how many players you have. Now the end goal of this game is to reach the most victory points as you terraform the planet Mars. But first, let's get into a little quick setup. Alright, now when you get into this game in the very beginning, after you set up, the book does a really good job at explaining how to set the game up. But you have choices. You can become a beginner corporation, where you get to start with 10 free project cards and 42 mega credits. Or you can randomly choose or randomly distribute 2 bigger corporations to every player. They can read through their starting resources and mega credits. And every bigger corporation also has an ability that it is unique to them. Choose one of those, grab the beginning resources, set up your beginning board, and you're ready to go. Alright, now that we're set up, when it's the first round of the game, you skip phase 1 and phase 2 and go straight into phase 3. But we're going to backtrack and go over all of the phases right now. So first we have the player order phase, and during this, you take the first player token and rotate it to the next person in player order in clockwise order. After that, you also move the generation white cube up to the next generation. Next, we have the research phase. During the research phase, you draw 4 cards per player. You get to read these cards, and whatever cards you want to keep, you have to pay 3 mega credits for. Now, let's briefly go over these cards. The green card has a cost, and then a requirement may be placed next to the cost, and you have to have that requirement in order to play this card as well. These are different tags, such as energy and space. This is the ability you gain. Green cards are usually a one-time consumable, so to speak. In this case, since there is a brown border surrounding the resource icon of energy, notice all of the resource production zones on your player board have that same brown border. That means for every individual symbol you have here, you upgrade your production by that many. Now, if there was no brown border here, for instance, right here is a red card. This is an event card. These take effect immediately, and then when you're done with it, it will get flipped down next to your player board so that you can score it later on for the end of the game. But notice how this symbol matches a symbol on your player board but has no brown background. That means you add that many resource to that section. Now, the little bronze cubes count as 1 value. So we can put 4 of them on steel, indicating we've gained the 4 steel. The silver indicates a 5, and the gold indicates 10. Now this down here shows a red border around the plant life with a -8. What the red border means is it can target any player. It doesn't have to be your own. So you have to subtract 8 plants from any player. You can't mix and match where it comes from. You have to select a player, and that player has to lose it. If they cannot lose all 8, then they will reduce down to 0. And then the last card type is the blue cards. These are ability cards. Once you pay the cost and you meet the requirement, in this case you need 5% oxygen. But blue cards stay in play, and once you want to use this, you place your token on it to symbolize you use the card, and then you gain whatever the ability states. On the bottom of the card, it'll show a little bit of some of them will show abilities. These take effect immediately. You use this ability when you play the card. This planet icon with a number on it is endgame scoring. So when you play a blue card, you gain whatever the bottom is, and then you can activate the top half whenever you want during your turn. So when you're done buying the cards that you want to put in your hand, and then discarding the other cards, in order to discard, you'll take the cards that you don't want and So when you're all done with that, the cards that you do not want to buy and add to your hand, you'll discard them. And what you're going to do is put them face down on a separate deck next to your main deck. That way nobody can really see what you discarded and what you were planning ahead of time. Alright, next phase is the action phase. During the action phase, you can take 1 or 2 actions before letting the next player go. If you are unable to or unwilling to perform even one action, you can pass. If everyone has passed, the action round will end. But there's a pretty sizable amount of fun things you can do on your turn. Let's go over that real quick. First, you have the play card from your hand. You have a handful of fun little project cards. We've gone over cost. I've shown you where to find the requirements, and those could be anywhere from having a certain number of oceans on the board, have a high enough oxygen, temperature, have so many of a specific tag, such as the brown is building, the green is plant. And when you play one of these cards, it'll forever be in your play area, so you can accumulate those tags whenever you need to. But during your turn, you can pay the cost, check your requirements, and play one of your cards from your hands. Next, we have the standard projects. Standard projects are located right here in the bottom left corner of the player board. There are 6 of them, and they read as such. Sell patents. You can sell cards from your hand at 1 mega credit per card. And again, just like discarding before, you'll discard however many cards you want, face down in the discard pile next to the deck. Then for every card you discarded, you gain that many mega credits. Next, we have the power plant action. You can spend 11 mega credits to increase the energy production on your player board. Remember, make sure you pay attention to the brown border around those symbols. When gaining that production, we'll move that up 1 space. Next, we have Asteroid. For 14 mega credits, we can raise the temperature of the planet. Now, temperature, oceans, and oxygen level are all called global parameters. At the beginning of the game, you will start your colored token on 20 terraforming rating, symbolized by the terraforming rating symbol on the board. So anytime you achieve a global parameter, you will upgrade your terraforming rating by 1 point. So playing the asteroid, paying the mega credits, upgrading the temperature will get you an upgraded terraforming rating. Next, we have Aquifer. For 18 mega credits, you can place one of the available oceans. Now, there are blue highlighted zones on the map. There are 12 of them, but there's only 9 oceans. It gives you a little variety of where you can place them. For 18 mega credits, you can place one of the oceans, and if there are any symbols on that zone, you get to claim those symbols, such as titanium, The brown ones are steel, the green ones are plants, and the cards mean you get to take a free card from the top of the project deck. So when you make an ocean, you make sure to place it in one of the blue highlighted tile zones, and then upgrade your terraforming rating. Next is greenery. For 23 mega credits, you can place a greenery tile. Now, a greenery tile has to be placed next to another zone you already own. So on this map, I have a greenery tile here with my blue token on it. And I also have a city over here with a blue token on it. That blue token means I own that tile. So when I place another greenery, I make sure to place it next to a zone I already own and place another token on it. Now, because I placed a greenery, you'll notice that there's also a little oxygen symbol right up above it. That means you get to upgrade the oxygen along its track one space. And because that's a global parameter, upgrade your terraforming rating one more point. Now, the last standard project you have available to you is City. You can build a city for 25 mega credits, and just like placing a greenery, you can place this on the board and take control of it with one of your colored tokens. However, here's the thing. You do not have to place this next to something you already own. The only restriction with cities is you cannot place them directly next to other cities. Now let's go over special bonuses real quick. When you place any tile next to an actually placed ocean, you gain a bonus 2 mega credits. Since I built this city right next to 2 adjacent oceans, I would gain 4 mega credits for bonus. And that's an immediate gain, not including the 2 plant symbols that are at that location. So 4 mega credits and 2 plants. Now when you're done placing your city, you also get to upgrade your mega credit production by 1 point. So always make sure to come in and move that token up 1 point. All right, the next available action is Claim Milestone. Now you can only have 3 people claim a milestone, and they are as such. You can claim the milestone for Terraformer if you have 35 terraforming rating. You can claim the milestone for Mayor if you own 3 cities. You can claim the Gardener milestone if you have 3 greenery on the board. You can claim the Builder milestone if you have 8 building tags on the cards in your player area. And the last milestone is Planner. If you ever have 16 projects in your hand, you can claim the milestone for Planner. Moving on, we have awards. The first time somebody funds an award, it'll cost them 8 mega credits. The second time will be 14, and the third time will be 20. Now the way these are different are, this is not an immediate you win, it's you're unlocking the possibility to win. Landlord will be won by the player, any player. Does not matter who unlocked the award, but whoever has the most tiles on the board will gain a 5 victory point. Second place will gain 2. But in the case of a 2-player game, there is no second place. It's just the number 1 winner. We also have Banker. Whoever has the highest mega credit production. Remember, look at that brown border around the symbol. Scientist, whatever player has played the most cards in their player area that have the science tag. Thermalist is whoever has the most cubes or cube value, 1, 5, 10, for heat on their player board. And lastly, we have Miner, whoever has the most cubes in steel and titanium will gain the Miner award. And our last 2 actions we have available to us are conversions. Go to the player board for that. So one of the conversions is to convert 8 plant life into a greenery. You can see that by these symbols here. 8 plant turns into 1 greenery tile. So after we pay for that, we'll take a greenery tile, and following the same rules as placement, we will place this greenery tile next to an area we already own. And then make sure to place your token on it. Now, just like the greenery, we can spend 8 heat to gain 1 temperature. That lets us upgrade the temperature. And remember, a global parameter gets us more terraforming rating. And that's it for turns. If you're done, or you have no money left, or you just want to get the next round started, at the beginning of your turn, instead of taking any actions, you pass. And once everyone else has passed, the action round will be over. We'll move on to Phase 4, Production. Alright, the first step of production is to turn any energy you have left over into heat, symbolized by the arrow. After that, we go into resource production. Start with the top left and work your way down as if you're reading a book. Right here is the only difference in normal production. You'll take whatever this number is that you own, which is 4 right now, plus your current terraforming rating, which right now is 24. That makes up a value of 28. So we'll take a 28 value amount of cubes. I have 2 10s, a 5, and 3 1s, and add it to my resource block for mega credits. Down here we have 3, so we would gain 3 steel. Again, 3 titanium, 3 plant life, 4 energy, and 3 heat. And lastly, if you have any tokens on cards that you have used, you may now remove these tokens so they can be used again. So those are the 4 phases that we go through for gameplay. After you're done with production phase, you go all the way back down to phase 1, the player order phase, and you start again. Now gameplay will continue until 3 global parameters are maxed out. We have to have all 9 oceans on the player board. Oxygen has to be maxed out at 14%. Temperature has to be maxed out at plus 8 degrees Celsius. Now if they're maxed out, you can continue to use actions that upgrade them. However, since they're not actually upgrading, you do not upgrade your terraforming rating for it. But once all 3 of those global parameters have been met, that will trigger the end of the game. You will continue the rest of that round. Finish your actions, try to gain as many points as you can, move on to production phase. You really don't need to produce anything at your final round, but it gives you the option to add more conversions of greenery on the board for bonus points. So when the game is over, you tally points. First, whatever your terraforming rating is on the outside of the board. After your terraforming rating is found, we move on to awards. Whatever awards were funded by players, you now score whoever had the most. Tiles, mega credit production, science tags, heat cubes, or steel plus titanium cubes. The winners of whatever of those 5, you can only have 3 of them funded. So whatever ones were funded, whoever wins gets 5 points. Runner-up gets 2 points. Remember, 2-player game, there is no runner-up, it's just the winner. After that, we move on to milestones. If anybody has claimed a milestone, at this point, they claim 5 victory points for every milestone they claimed. Again, there can only be 3 claims. Next, we refer to the game board itself. You can score based on greenery tiles. For every greenery tile you own, that is 1 victory point. And then city tiles. City tiles are worth 1 point per adjacent greenery. And it's any greenery. It could be an opponent's owned greenery. It could be yours, as long as it's a greenery. But in this case, this city would be worth 2. This city would only be worth 1, and so forth and so on. And then lastly, Any cards you have that have the victory symbol here, you can score these as well. These two only have a 1 inside them, so it would only be 2 endgame score. However, it all adds up. So at that point, whoever has the most victory points is the winner. I've never seen it before, but if there is a tie, you can break it down by whoever has the most mega credits or mega credit production. Or call them both winners. That's always an option too. Regardless, that's Terraforming Mars, and I hope you enjoy it. Have a good night.